try to dodge the gators and skunk apes.
Shooting skateboarding is hard to explain to people. People are like, what, you shoot skateboarding? And it's definitely not a 9 to 5. It's very, you gotta go at this spot at this time or you get kicked out of spots. And so it's a lot of back and forth to try to get stuff accomplished. Perfect. Perfect. My name's Joe Brook, and I'm a staff photographer for Thrasher Skateboarding Magazine. And I'm coming up on almost 20 years with them. And I just don't shoot skateboarding. I shoot portraits and music and street photography and still lifes. I shoot everything. My main passion is skateboarding and life and like photography as well. So both of those things together have been amazing for me, for my life, and to what I've done and seen, because of those two things. Like, they took me from a very normal life that I could have lived into like an extraordinary life that I never even imagined that could happen. Through skating, I moved to California when I was 19 years old. San Francisco is where we wanted to live because the city was like a skate park with all the hills and just everything cement. Within that time, I met pro skaters and amateur skaters, and I was like, whoa, this is insane. Like, I see these guys in magazines and videos, and then I would see the opposite end of that. I would see Bryce Kanights and Tobin Yeeland and videographers like Jake Rosenberg and Aaron Meza, and I was like, almost more enamored by these guys. Like, I'm like, whoa, this is what you do for a living? And I would go out and shoot photos, and it was kind of like skateboarding, like trying to learn a kickflip or a 360 flip on my skateboard, but it was like, I'm trying to control light. I loved it. I thought it was like the coolest thing. Ben he's always traveling around the world, going to cool places, and he always carries a camera with him. He has his Leica M6 with him, and he shoots amazing photos. So I called up Ben because I knew he could ollie this bump to bar at Battery Spencer above Golden Gate Bridge. I think a lot of skaters look at architecture in skateboarding and be like, oh, I could do this trick here and it would make a cool photo. For me, it's like, I'm not doing the tricks, but I'm trying to capture those moments the best that I can. I love it that they love the photos, and you know what I mean? For like a little history of my van, Big Blue, I essentially was on a skateboard tour in Arizona with the Birdhouse team, Tony Hawk's team. And the team manager, Seamus Deegan, was like, okay, like, this is the last trip for this van. And I was like, wow, crazy. What are you gonna do with this thing? Just asking, not like I wanted it. He's like, do you want it? And I was like, yep. And I left it in Detroit at my friend's house. He does vinyl, and he wanted to do some vinyl on my van. And I was like, yeah, do an American flag. Because I kind of have an affinity for American flags, and I just didn't really think about like how big he was going to put the flag on it. I was like, oh, it'll be like, like 3 feet by 2 feet or something on like the rear quarter panel. I flew back, and my friend's videotaping me as I'm driving up, and I'm like, why would he be videotaping me? And I get out of the car and I see the van, like I walk around to the side of the van, and I'm like, whoa. It made the van look brand new. And my friend Roberto Alemán from Spain was one of the first guys that took a trip in it to Oregon and in Washington, and it's kind of a light blue color, and he just nicknamed it one day. He's like, Big Blue, Big Blue. And from that day on, it's been Big Blue in skateboarding. And it's kind of like a camera for me. It's like a tool to shuttle skaters to places, and it's a backdrop for photography for me, for people and places. If we take it on a skate trip, like people trip out on it. Like they're like, oh my gosh, Big Blue. GX 1000, they're like a wolf pack. And they basically reinvented hill skating in San Francisco with the way they skate hills. It's cool to see how every generation takes skateboarding to a different level or makes it technical or gnarly. You know, it's kind of like skateboarding is our religion, you know? It really is what we do and like what we love, and you know, it's weird to say that, but it kind of is. We're gonna meet up with Max Schaaf in Oakland, and when I first moved here in '91, I would go street skating with Max, and like, you know, we were just both teenagers, and throughout that time, he was an amateur skateboarder, pro skateboarder, but when he was doing that too, he was also in love with motorcycles and cars, and his skateboarding career and that kind of like melded together.
Yeah, for sure. You tried so many.
We don't have people shoot portraits for us at Thrasher, like we do it all, and I think that's the nature of skateboarding. It's like, do it yourself. All right, here we go.
Joe Brook to me is always represented like a skater's photographer. He was a skater. He was like you, but when he got out of the van versus grabbing his skateboard, he grabbed his camera. It's still art to him. He cares about it, and you can tell the way he shoots. But Joe's a genuine dude. If you've spent time with him, you know. And that's why, yeah, Joe rules.
All right. Let me see if the 4x5 will work. When I shoot 35mm film, I have to limit myself to how many rolls I'll bring, because I'll just keep on shooting photos till I can't shoot photos anymore. With different formats like 4x5, like, you know, you get 2 shots in a film holder, and you can't really walk around and jam around with a 4x5 and shoot photos. So it just slows you down to movements and focusing. You can change the perspectives with tilts and swings, and it's more of like a meditative camera, I think, for me. It's like slower. You really try to pay attention to what you're doing, the movements and the focus, and you know, the image is upside down in it, so your brain is thinking different. It takes you into a different world. 13 kid right here. I've been photographing Corey Duffel since he's been maybe 11 or 13 skating, and I have so many photographs of him from a little punk rock kid into a punk rock man.
Turn it up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making a wall on machines in particular. Sound machines call for death. The robots that guard them.
He's such a legend. It really comes down to who you're with, and with someone like him, it feels easy because Joe's such a fun guy to be around. He's such a jokester, and he makes you feel very comfortable. I think that's very important. Like, if you're doing work with a photographer, you have to feel comfortable with that person. Otherwise, it's never going to actually capture who you really are. It's going to be all posing and kind of fake, I think. It's very pseudo. But with him, he's going to actually get a photograph of me smiling, or 90% of the time it's going to be like my driver's license, me going, pretending I'm some tough guy, but he's going to bring out the real me, you know. And I think that's very important in a photographer, for the subject to be happy with who they're shooting with, and I think that's why he is such a legendary skateboard photographer.
I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, we're not going to be here one day. So just go do everything that you want to do, whatever it is. That's what I tell my kids, like, life's short. I could go outside today and get hit by a car, but I mean, I don't have any regrets. Maybe I should have shot more photos. Maybe I should have shot this, but no, I just feel like skateboarding, you fall all the time. You constantly fail, and you get back up, and it's like life, you fail too, you just get back up. Just attack life. Just get back up and do it again, and just keep pushing buttons.